Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our series where we are featuring some incredible women that we have featured in our magazine, women that we have been told about that are just doing incredible things in the community. And today I'm real excited because we have Vanessa Corral with us. And I'm yeah, and I'm gonna have her introduce a little bit more about herself, but I wanted to share with you all why I wanted to have her on here. She and I actually haven't physically met yet. This is our first time like seeing each other live in this way, and hopefully we'll be able to get a chance to meet soon. But whenever I hear about someone that is just doing incredible work, that they are really good, just genuine, like a person. Every time I hear her name, people always say she's so kind, she's so sweet, she's so talented, she makes you feel warm, she makes you feel connected. Like those are the kind of people that we love to learn from because you can have a thriving business and not treat people well. And everything I've heard about her, that she treats people well. And I just learned, I don't know, I haven't told you, Vanessa, you took pictures of a really dear friend of mine, Yvonne George.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, yeah, she's a good friend of mine. And so, so I wanted to have Vanessa on here today so we can learn about her journey, learn a little more about her lessons that she's learned. And so I'm excited to introduce you all to Vanessa. So welcome, Vanessa, today.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. I know, let's
So,
try to do
Vanessa,
this together.
right? No, and as I shared, like I'm excited about talking to you, just learning about your journey because you're very successful, but you're also very humble with it. And that's not always an easy balance. But before we learn about what you do, I would love for you to share just who Vanessa is.
Okay, well, I'm a mother of two
Mhm.
teenage girls. I'm just your normal
Mhm.
kind of person, you know.
Yeah.
Having teenagers is kind of tough sometimes. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
kind of bury myself in work because I do better there.
Yeah.
But I have an
Good.
amazing husband. We've been married 25 years. Well, we'll be
Mhm.
25 years this year. And
Nice.
yeah, we've been here in Frisco for about 7 years.
Okay.
Um, I grew up in the country.
Oh,
I was a
really?
country girl. Yeah, and when we moved to Texas, everyone thought it was kind of funny that, my parents came, they're like, "Where are you?" In the middle of suburbia.
Yeah.
They were expecting Texas, we're gonna be going to
Mhm.
more country, but no,
Yeah.
I can remember as a kid not really loving the country, and then I wanted to get back to it, and now we've been here
Yeah.
in Frisco with our girls. We found a good school for them, and yeah, I'm a mom, and I love
Yeah.
to photograph people.
So tell us a little bit about that. So I know you obviously you're a photographer and you're a beautiful photographer.
Thank
Tell
you.
us where did that passion come from?
Oh, well, okay, so this one kind of chokes me up sometimes, but I'm gonna
Mhm.
try not to go
No,
there.
you're fine. You're
Um,
fine.
but I think I can remember as a kid just, like, not really loving my photos. I never
Mhm.
really felt beautiful in them. I can get
Mhm.
ready and look in the mirror and, "Okay, it looks good. We're all put together," and then you see a
Yeah.
picture of yourself and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
was going on there?" I just had this goofy smile. I can remember always covering my mouth because I had too big of a smile. I always wanted to kinda
Mhm.
hide it until later I just kind of embraced who I am, and, as you can
Mhm.
see, I this is me. I'm gray hair and everything else, and,
Yeah.
I feel like every person truly can.
Mhm. No, I'm with you. I'll say this as you have a moment. Um, and I love that you're sharing this because that was my story growing up. It was always I have a sister I love to death, but people are always used to say she's the pretty one and Kim you're the smart one. And so when it came to pictures and things of that nature, it was like, well, you're not photogenic, but you're smart. You can do this, you can do that. And so honestly, it wasn't until Vanessa maybe I've been in business for 27 years. I didn't put my face on anything until several years ago. Like it took me almost 2 decades to put my face on anything because I kept thinking, I don't want to be seen. I'm not pretty enough. I don't have the smooth
That breaks my
skin. Yeah. But it was really real for me because I had like all the acne and so I have like more like not the perfectly smooth and this, that, and the other. And it was interesting because when I put my face on there, it was like an anxiety thing, like, oh my God, I'm gonna be on the website and oh my God, I'm taking a picture.
heart.
But then over time I just had to really work through that gunk, and I
Yes.
realized so many women, and I'm sure so many, not just women, people you who stand behind your lens, if you will, not behind, but in front of your lens,
Yes.
probably feel some of those insecurities, like,
I
all
think
that stuff
so.
comes up.
Yes, and those tend to be some of my favorite clients are the ones that are like,
Yeah.
"Vanessa, good luck to you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Challenge accepted. I will
Right.
take the best picture of yourself you've ever seen." And
Yeah.
so, yeah, as I, picked up my camera and started to learn more. I think there was one person I seen a workshop, and I seen her take an ordinary person, just,
Mhm.
up, jeans and a t-shirt, and transformed her, did her makeup, had the wind blowing in her hair. She was a ballerina. She was a dancer.
Mhm.
And she was like in a warehouse. And so
Wow.
I, I can do that for people. I wanted to be that girl, actually, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to see the transformation in myself.
Mhm.
And so I started to really just want to do that for other people. And I realized it doesn't matter your size, your shape, or anything.
Mhm.
Any woman could grace the cover of a magazine. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of having good light and a fan.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so all my pictures, yeah, I have a fan.
Yeah.
With my headshot. I go
Right.
everywhere with my fan. Yeah, people know if I'm coming into your place to take headshots, I got my fan.
Yeah, no, but what I love about this, because it's not always just about the picture.
Mhm,
I know, like, for people like I know I can share what I have struggled with. It's like it builds confidence and allows
mhm.
you to kind of step out there different. When you see the picture, you're
Yeah.
like, "Is that me?" Like,
Yes,
that's really
yes.
like me, and
So
I know
rewarding.
for me, it gave me a boost of confidence. Have you noticed that with your clients too?
Absolutely. From, they first get in, they're kinda nervous, and, uh,
Mhm.
and then by the end, I show them a couple of behind the scenes, like, the back of my
Yeah.
camera, and you can see them just kind of perk up, and
Mhm.
they just start to own their space and
Yes.
just feel confident. And so, like, a lot of times I'll start people in their least favorite outfit
Mhm.
because
Yep,
those are
yep.
kind of the warm-up shots, and then they end
Mhm.
up just feeling, and you could see the confidence, and it's just so
Yeah.
rewarding. So a lot of people, I'll just show them pictures right away because, cameras these days are
Mhm.
really amazing. Right out of the
Yeah.
camera, they're great. And so they're just so excited to see
Mhm.
the
It
pictures.
does
Oh,
something.
wow, that's me. And you could see the
Yes.
confidence and, like, the strength that they have now, and they're ready to go and use these pictures to, for their
Exactly.
business or for their LinkedIn, however it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
because, like, having that type of gift, because I do feel like it's a gift to have an eye to be able to capture,
Mhm,
something that maybe we don't always see about ourselves, but you can see it through the lens.
mhm,
What have you learned about yourself as a businesswoman in this journey, as you have grown in your gift and talent?
mhm. I have to stay true to myself.
Mhm.
It's not about, there's so many photographers out there that you think, oh, they're just doing so much better than me. They're just, wow,
Mhm.
their work is amazing. And I
Yeah.
feel like yeah, I do look at other people for inspiration, and I try and find
Mhm.
what it is that I like. And so I think I've just kind of tried to stay true to myself and see
Yeah.
what it is that I like, and continue photographing people that way instead of trying to do it the way somebody else is doing it.
Mhm.
It doesn't come true. It doesn't,
Yeah.
I don't know
It
how to,
doesn't.
it doesn't resonate, right?
No, you're
Yes.
right, you're right. And you said something that was interesting, is you're in a field that's what people consider crowded, if you will. And
Mhm.
I know that you don't have the mindset that there's competition.
I don't.
What would you say to someone that kind of feels like, I'm in a field with all graphic designers, or maybe there's all photographers, whatever it might be. How did you not develop that mindset where you feel like there's competition per se?
Well, I think that I've just created relationships throughout my journey. And
Mhm.
so I don't let myself go down that pathway,
Mhm.
and just stay focused on what you're doing. So,
Right.
um, yeah, I've just created relationships along the way that are healthy, that are, that
Mhm.
fill me up.
Yeah. Yeah. So share with us about a couple of those relationships, because I think that sometimes it's something that people talk about. We have to build them. How
Mhm.
did you build those? Because I know in your article in the magazine you mentioned that you're introverted, and so there may be some people on here who's like, "Look, I don't like being around a lot of people. That's not my thing." How did you work within who you are to build those relationships?
That just took time. It took time to
Mhm.
find people that, you know, uh, over the time I've done different events, and I've gotten a chance to work with people, and I can remember one of them. Um, Tammy was so cool. I remember photographing the
Mhm.
event, and she was running the event. She was running Frisco Arts. She was the president of Frisco Arts there, and so we were doing the group shot at the end. And
Mhm.
there was a lot of people, and there were some people in color dressing, red dresses, but just different colorful outfits, and some
Right.
that were more like in black and white and blazers. And I
Right.
try sometimes not to. harass people too much, because for me,
Mhm.
I see a picture and I want it to look a certain way, but sometimes
Yeah.
people are like, come on, let's get the shot. Everybody's here, hurry up.
Yeah.
And Tammy was next to me, and she says, what if we put some of those colorful people over there? And I went, oh, damn it. Yes, I could work with her all day long. I'm like, yes,
Right,
let's do it.
right.
So we did it. We moved it around, and then we just kind of grew this relationship. And just over time,
Mhm.
she referred me to certain people. I got to know her a little bit. I got to understand her
Mhm.
love, her morals, because certain
Yeah.
decisions that she was making. And so I just kind of I gravitated towards her. There was another
Mhm.
woman, and I feel like I'm pretty good at reading people. I think, especially as
Mhm.
an introvert, you sit back, right,
Mhm.
and you relax, you sit back and watch everybody that's going on and
Yeah.
everything that's going on. And I tend to see real people versus, you could kind
Mhm.
of tell when somebody's being a bit fake and just putting on
Exactly.
show for you. And so
Mhm.
whenever I get a chance to help somebody like Tammy or Crystal,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
do.
I love that. So, okay, so in the process of building a business, I'm sure there's been ups and downs.
Mhm.
Share with us about something that was like, I wouldn't say your biggest a failure per se, but maybe something that you felt like, man, that taught me a big lesson. What was that thing for you?
Not following my gut.
Mhm.
I think we have to
Yes.
listen to that inner voice. I tell my girls this all the time, listen to that voice inside. It won't steer you wrong.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I think sometimes I've noticed this when people want something from you, they tend to boast you up a lot and they make you feel really important. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you're the best, you're the best. But there's something inside of me that was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Mhm.
And I didn't
Mhm.
listen to it, and things didn't go quite right.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think you just got
I
to
love that
listen.
you said that.
You
I
got
think
to
we forget to trust ourselves,
listen.
that we know ourselves. And sometimes I know, like, I had someone recently share that she didn't go with her gut, but the opportunity seems so big and it
Yes.
would have made such a huge difference in her business. And she was like, our family needed it.
Yeah.
And she made that leap. And then she was like, oh my God, it was like horrible. It
Right.
became more of a headache than a blessing to her
Right.
family,
Right.
and I think sometimes we just forget to trust it. Yeah.
And I think sometimes, especially you're trying to build your business, right? You're like, this is going to be a great opportunity. I can push
Yeah.
past some of that stuff. And then you
Mhm.
realize, no, I should have listened to myself. I knew
Yeah.
better. I knew better.
Yeah.
God won't steer you wrong.
No, you're not. I agree with that. Just we got to trust ourselves. So, in the course of building your business, I'm sure you've had some amazing, amazing relationships. Have you ever had to deal with something, and you don't have to say like too much specifics, but a hard situation with a client? How did you handle that when it's like this relationship is not healthy anymore? How did you deal with that, and what did that teach you as a businesswoman?
Um, I think sometimes when situations go wrong, you're probably to blame, right? There's probably
Mhm.
something that I did wrong. And so fess up to your mistakes. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing I do is like, look, I messed up. I'm sorry. I'm to
Mhm.
blame here too. I realize next time I will do this, but with a person, I think it's just apologize and bow out
Mhm.
gracefully, and
Yeah.
learn from it and move on.
Yeah.
Get them deliver whatever you need to deliver, and just move on. Thankfully, there's only been just like a couple things that I could think of offhand, but
Mhm. No,
you
but
just
that's good though, because I think sometimes we forget to own, where we are in that situation,
yeah.
because one of the things that I know that I'm a big believer in, I don't like to burn bridges. I do believe that sometimes that some relationships may not just be able to go forward, but
Mhm.
burning them and leaving things left unsaid and all of that is not always healthy either. So just owning where you are, apologizing, maybe for your piece in that and
Mhm.
making peace with it. So,
Yes. And
mhm.
usually people are very graceful, and they'll understand that, you're human. I
Mhm.
made a mistake. And I'm always one to say, look, how can I make it better? If I made
Yeah.
a mistake, can I make this better? And actually that
Yeah.
was one that Tammy, I made a mistake with. I did something, what was it? Oh, my SD card. I
Mhm.
accidentally erased something. Well, luckily I had like half of the event, but I made a
Yeah.
mistake, and I
Mhm.
recorded over it, and I said, "Tammy, I'm sorry, here's your money back." And she's like, "You're human."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I like that though, because to be honest with you, you don't hear that all the time about grace being given.
Mhm.
That sometimes we can make a simple mistake, and I like that you share that because to me, it's a very real thing that we have to remember that we are human
Yeah.
and that even if someone does us wrong, that we can extend that to them because one day we may need the same thing extended to us.
Yeah.
That just girl, I can write a whole thing on that one. Grace is such a big thing because I just think sometimes we're so hard on ourselves, and then we quickly go and tell someone like they did this and they did that, but maybe it was just simple, honest mistake.
It was.
Nothing intentional.
Mhm.
So I'm glad you shared that. So share with me some of the biggest lessons you learned in marketing your business because I
Oh,
know relationships is a big thing, but
mhm.
again, marketing is a big thing when it comes to the work that you do.
It is. And I feel like marketing is a whole nother beast.
It is.
Your business is a whole nother beast. And so I haven't,
Mhm.
honestly, I'll be very truthful. I haven't been great at it. Most of my work comes from referrals.
That's
And so I
awesome.
haven't put that much effort into it. I'm trying to now. And I realize like I have so many beautiful faces to share on social media and
Mhm.
stories, and I don't post them because it just becomes a lot of extra work. So I'm working on getting somebody to help me out with that.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
I realize that, that's not my that's not where I shine,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So
No, but
delegating work is a huge thing, and that's where what I'm working on this year is doing what I'm good at and delegating out
mhm. Yeah,
what needs to be done, and marketing is one of those.
but it sounds like you have done one of the most effective forms of marketing, which is referrals.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
that's why I keep telling myself, look, if everything's going well, just treat your people right and
Mhm,
it'll continue to come. And I know that with marketing, a lot more can come, but
mhm.
I feel comfortable in where I'm at now and haven't
Yeah.
really pushed it. And
So let
that's
me ask you this,
important.
'cause I think oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You were
No, that's
probably
a really big thing though, because I think that's the one thing everyone's trying to grow more into is that referral
Mhm,
marketing, having
mhm,
it to where because I think the best form is when people can refer you. So
mhm.
how do you nurture like you have a growing business, but also nurture the relationships that you do have to where they do think of you top of mind? Do you do anything in that space to nurture that?
Um, well, I think I just when I've excuse me. When
Mhm.
I'm with a person, when I'm with my client, I put my phone down. My family knows mom's on a
Mhm.
shoot, she ain't gonna answer.
Okay, okay,
I
that's good.
just truly give my 100% attention to the people that are in front of me. And I think
Mhm,
that's just the best way that I can nurture it. Try and follow through. If they have any questions, there's a lot of women. I love photographing women, by the way.
mhm,
My clients are my age or a bit older, and
yes,
they don't know how to use a computer. So they'll ask me, Vanessa, how do I download all this stuff? And so I have no problem with walking them through that. I
yeah,
feel like just because I deliver the images, we're not done. And I make it very clear. If you have any questions, call me.
mhm,
Sometimes they have a trouble just putting their picture into the LinkedIn square or something. And so
yeah,
I walk them through it. I don't,
right.
and so they keep coming back to me. So
Mhm,
it's just a constant, like, I feel like once I photograph them, they're my friend.
yeah,
We've been in each other's space and I've been in their bubble quite a bit. So, I treat them like I would, family, a close friend.
yeah,
And so anytime I see them, they're top of
mhm,
mind for me. If I see them in an event, you better believe I'm gonna be photographing them and making sure
right.
they're time.
Yep, and what I'm hearing is that you're very intentional, like building those relationships and even going the extra mile. Because I know people who in your field who wouldn't do that, wouldn't say, how to do X, Y, and Z. They'll be like, look it up, Google it, YouTube it, or something.
Not nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
sure
but I agree.
so I truly believe that I treat others as I wish to be treated. And sometimes I'm just
Mhm.
not so tech savvy either.
Yeah,
And so I will,
yeah,
yeah, I try and treat people and I photograph others the way, and
yeah.
I tell my people that sometimes I photograph others the way I wish to be photographed. So, you know, you're in good hands. I'm not going to
Mhm.
steer you wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to feel confident and be beautiful and feel beautiful and all that good stuff.
Yeah. No, I love what you're sharing because what I'm getting the most is that you have a heart for the people that you serve. And that comes through. And even in every comment that you're making, it comes through that you really care about them.
Thank
And so
you.
if it's coming through in this interview, I know it's coming through with them face to face. And I think, in a world that's so techy and so it's quick, let's get it done, that kind of thing,
Move on.
just having that moment and making someone feel seen, makes a big difference. And you remind me so much. So and I hope I can share this with you. When I had my first photo shoot with,
Mhm,
we posted some pictures the other day. Her name is Ashley Strong,
mhm,
and she reminds me so much of you. She was my first big photo shoot, and I flew to San Diego. I had met her at a wedding here in Dallas with a friend, and we just connected. And so she was the first person after my whole like, okay, let me take pictures, let me go out there. She created a whole day. It was like an 8-hour day. It wasn't supposed to be, but
uh-huh,
it became a thing where we were just shooting in so many places, and I
mhm.
felt so incredibly beautiful, which was a huge thing for me because that
Aw,
wasn't something
yeah,
I would have put my name attached to.
right.
I didn't feel beautiful. And I just felt so alive. And after that, girl, you couldn't keep me from my camera. Like I was ready to take pictures all the time. And it's a big deal even with
Yeah,
the magazine. Like people were shocked that I was on the cover because that
yeah,
wasn't me 5
uh-huh.
years ago,
Mhm,
And you remind me so much of her because she didn't just take pretty pictures, but she made me feel cared for,
mhm.
and she made me feel beautiful. And we used her for like our family, our wedding, our engagement. And so it became like a
Yeah,
relationship in that way. And she also has a heart like you because I know that you don't mind working with other photographers. She's like, she'll hand out business all over the place. She's like,
mhm.
look, we're a community and we should do that. That should be the thing. And I know
That's
you do that too, that you're really good about just collaborating and working with other people, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing about that.
well,
Yeah.
you can learn from other people all the time, and it's
Yeah.
fun because this business is kind of lonely, I'm
Mhm.
my sole person. I do it all,
Right.
and it
Exactly.
so, yeah, it gets lonely, so when you can just I mean, we'll go and have lunch. I'll have lunch with a few photographer friends and just talk a
Yeah.
little bit about business, but not sometimes not always,
Yeah. Just about
and
life. Yeah.
it's
That. So I have one more question for you.
Sure.
So for the lady listening here saying, okay, you have a great business, you built it with relationships,
Mhm.
and I know scaling comes with its challenges itself. What would you share as advice to someone that feels stuck in their growth? They don't feel like they're growing and they don't feel like they're looking at you and saying that, you have this good business and you're doing this, but I can't seem to get to that point. What
Mhm.
would you offer someone that's stuck?
Well, it takes time to get to, like, where I'm at now.
Mhm.
I think sometimes we go, 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 and then it's nice actually kind of doing the interview with you for the magazine
Mhm.
kind of made me stop
Yeah.
for a second and look back and reflect back on what I've achieved. And so I think it's just a matter of taking one step forward, every
Mhm.
day. If it's something small, take one step forward. If you really
Mhm.
want this, it will happen
Mhm.
eventually. It's not going to happen over time.
Yeah.
So it's overnight. Sometimes it does. For some people, it does.
Mhm.
But you feel like you're stuck, I would say, go do something that you love, whether it's designing,
Mhm.
if you're a designer, go design a room in your own home and
That's good.
photograph it and share it. Share what you want to do. Um,
Mhm.
if you're a photographer and you love a specific genre, go do something fun, a fun shoot just for yourself with no pressure to perform, with no pressure to of a deadline or anything like that. Just go do something for you and share that because when you share something that you love,
Mhm. Yeah.
why do I get choked up all the time?
Because you love you're exactly what it is. You love what you do. It comes through. Yeah. When you share what you love, people can feel it. And I know everyone who's going to see this, they're going to feel how much that you love what you do. And I think that's honestly a lost thing sometimes.
I
We
think so.
forget this.
Yeah. Business takes over, right? The dollar
Yeah.
signs take over.
Mhm.
Fortunately,
Mhm.
I'm very blessed that we're not counting on my income for,
Mhm.
send our girls to school, but to know
Yeah.
that my income does, allow for them
Mhm.
to have a great
Yeah.
college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
And that
But,
matters.
sometimes there is that stress of having to, um, you know, make money for the family. And there's a
Right.
lot of strategical things that you can do to make that money right now. But and
Mhm.
the end game is still you have to do something for yourself. You have to do what you love. Even if
Mhm.
you're, on the clock for certain things, take that mental break and go do a project that will
I
bring
like
back
that.
to you.
I like that. I do that often myself. So I love that you share that because I think we forget to pour back into ourselves,
Yes.
and remember the things like even why we got started. Not so much
Mhm.
as that, for the family and for our kids, but just for the love of what we want
Yes.
to do.
Why
We can
got
forget
started.
that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So thank you. Let me ask you, how can they get in touch with you? Where can they learn more about you?
Well, so I'm probably the most often on Instagram.
Okay.
Facebook, not as much. I know I need to get out there a little bit more, but you can find me just Vanessa Corral on
Mhm.
Instagram and vanessacorral.com for my website,
Awesome.
which I'm
Well, I
working
oh,
on.
like it's coming.
Always working
No,
on something, trying to improve
no,
it.
girl, I still got to update a lot of mine. That's just, business is going and life is moving. It's like you got to
Yes,
pause and do those things. But
yes.
I appreciate you so much for coming on
Thank
here
you.
and just even a few minutes with us, just sharing about your journey. I think one of the biggest takeaways I love about what you share and what comes through is your heart. That sometimes we have to, not sometimes, I think often we need to remember your clients need to see how much you love and love what you do. And more importantly, remember why you love what you do and be very intentional about the relationships and the connections that you make, along the way. Because like you mentioned, said it a few minutes ago, sometimes it could be about dollars and people can focus on the business only, but these are people that we're dealing with. I used to always say that whenever God had someone choose to work with me, I felt like that was like God entrusting me with something that was
Right.
valuable into
Very
them. So
valuable.
let me take care of it.
Right.
Yeah,
They chose you, right? So you do your
exactly.
best to, um, yeah,
Yeah.
do what God would want you to do, which is make them
Hmm.
feel important. And they
Exactly.
didn't have to choose me. There's so many people to choose from. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
very, very blessed, truly, that whenever
Hmm.
they do come to me. So I want to do my best.
I love that. So do you have any closing thoughts before we end?
I think we touched on it a little bit. Just give yourself
Hmm.
grace and know
Hmm.
that if there's something that you love, don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't let other people discourage you. Don't feel like, "Oh, I'll never
Hmm.
get there." It's always just one step. Just take one step towards whatever it is you want. And before you know it, you're going to turn around and go, wow, I did all that. Because
Yep.
if you don't take that one step, you're never going to eventually get there. Because one step
That is
leads
so
to two,
true.
10, eventually you get where you want to go.
It's true. No,
And you know
I
what?
agree.
Nothing is truly impossible. It really
Yeah.
isn't. It's just how much work you want to put into it. And sometimes, and the other thing real quick that when I was young, I've loved photography for like 20 years, right?
Hmm.
20 plus years. And there was a time where I couldn't do too much because I had my little ones. And
Yeah.
now they're teenagers and, they don't really care. I do this, otherwise I'd be more of a helicopter mom, right?
Right.
There's a time for everything. So if you're not there yet, it's okay. That time will come. Your kids are going to go out and want to do their own thing. They're not going to need you as much.
Oh, I'm
So
not ready for that.
I know that's
Yeah.
okay. But
But I love that you said that. Thank you. Because I'm not gonna add nothing to what you said. I think what you ended it beautifully. I think we just have to remember one step.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate your time today. And I I pray that God continues to expand everything that you do.
Thank you.
I think you're a blessing to many people. So I'm excited that you were part of our process behind her brand, and I'm grateful that you spent some time with us today with this interview. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was a
You're
pleasure.
welcome.